Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is the third installment in the Harry Potter series. It was released in 2004. This one is the first movie to not be directed by Chris Columbus. This one was directed by Alfonso Cúron, but just like the first two, it stars Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, Emma Watson, and just like the first two, was based off the book of the same name, written by J.K. Rowling. Just like the first two, this one takes place around roughly 3 months after Chamber of Secrets ended. And just like the last film, he is now getting excited for his third year at Hogwarts, School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. However, just before Harry goes back to Hogwarts, he is warned by this new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher that he needs to be extremely careful, because a very powerful evil wizard has escaped a prison called Azkaban. His name is Sirius Black, and he is known for wanting to kill Harry, and is known to have betrayed Harry's parents, which has led to them eventually getting killed by Voldemort. Not only has Harry been hunted down by an evil wizard that wants to kill him, he comes to learn about these really horrific creatures known as Dementors. Creatures that basically feed off your happiness, and they are looking for Sirius Black, and they are surrounding the school. So basically, in short, Harry has to go through his third year at Hogwarts while trying to avoid Sirius Black, a wanted wizard that wants to kill him, as well as trying to avoid these Dementors which are surrounding the school. So, yeah. The stakes are fairly higher in this movie. One thing I find rather fascinating is the fact that this is by far, from what I've seen, the Harry Potter movie that gets the most mixed of reception. Some people absolutely love Prisoner of Azkaban, and some people say that it's the best Harry Potter movie, and some people even say that it's the only good Harry Potter movie, and some people absolutely despise Prisoner of Azkaban. Some people consider Prisoner of Azkaban to be the worst of the Harry Potter films. And then there are just some people that think it's just alright and kind of blends somewhere in the middle. So this is the one with the more mixed reception I've noticed. The first thing I have to say about Prisoner of Azkaban is the fact that this is a beautifully directed film. Prisoner of Azkaban is by far the most mature Harry Potter film so far. It is a lot more mature than the first two movies, which may have mostly happened due to the change in the director. But it's much more mature in a way that it kind of feels like that true transition from being kids' movies to being more for teenagers and adults. So mature up to the point where Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is the final Harry Potter movie to receive a PG rating. I know Half-Blood Prince got a PG rating in America, but I'm Australian, and here in Australia, Prisoner of Azkaban is the last PG rated Harry Potter movie. And it really shows. The film does a great job of really building up great suspense with Sirius Black. This guy is really threatening because we don't actually see him until the end of the movie. Yes, we see him in newspapers and everything, but we don't see the actual guy until the end of the movie, which leads to some very suspenseful scenes. I love the scene where we find out that he's in the castle. It gives me chills every time, even though I know what happens. And the scene where we actually find out what happened in the past, where Harry is with the teachers with his invisibility cloak, and we finally hear that this guy actually used to be friends with Harry's parents and eventually betrayed them and killed Voldemort. It's a very heartbreaking scene. Now yes, we do eventually find out that this is completely false, and he never betrayed his parents, and they were always really great friends. And this is someone who actually wants to help Harry and is completely innocent. This is a guy that is being wrongfully sent to Azkaban. I also absolutely love the setup for the Time Turner sequence. The film hints at the Time Turner sequence about Hermione just randomly popping up out of nowhere and startling Harry and Ron throughout the entire film, and they keep on hinting at the Time Turner, but we don't actually learn what the Time Turner is. We don't really know anything about it until the end of the film. Also, this movie is a lot darker than the first two Harry Potter movies. Some people say that this movie is slightly darker, but honestly, this movie is a complete shift in tone. The first two Harry Potter movies were pretty bright and cheery and whimsical and happy and nice and warming and comforting and inviting. But this one is very cold and bitter and suspenseful. I think the insanely sharp shift in tone is one of the main reasons why a lot of Harry Potter fans despise this movie, but I'm completely fine with it. This movie is especially sent darker not only with the suspenseful setting of Sirius Black out hunting for Harry, supposedly, but also the introduction to Dementors. These things are so well done. The Dementors are extremely well done. They look very, very realistic, well, maybe except for the hand. When I watched this scene for the first few times, I genuinely had no idea whether or not they used CG or practical effects, and I always would have thought that it would have been possible if they used practical effects, and it wasn't until someone blatantly told me they were CG when I really knew it was CG. And this movie came out in 2004, so the fact that I wasn't able to tell, again, the hand looks a lot like CG, but everything from the cloak and everything looks like there could have easily been a person under there. And they really do set a chilling atmosphere, and they definitely look really, really creepy. I'm personally glad I waited as long as I did to finally watch these movies, because the Dementors would have absolutely scared the hell out of me if I saw this movie as a kid. J.K. Rowling said in an interview with Daniel Radcliffe that she felt like that Alfonso Cúron did the Dementors absolutely beautifully, and I 100% agree. I really love how they were executed. While the overall film has a really dark tone and a real sense of dread in a way, the film also does keep its fair share of genuinely funny moments, along with some very, very entertaining scenes. We actually get to see Hagrid teach the students at Hogwarts, and seeing Hagrid teaching Harry about the Hippogriff is a really, really great and very whimsical moment. The Hippogriff is such a cool creature. I love this thing. I also love the scene where we learn about boggarts, shape-shifting creatures that will take on the form of anything that you're afraid of. There's also two very, very cool shots in the movie where the camera will pan through the door into a mirror and will emerge from the other side, and the shot will continue on as normal. And the way how the camera looks like it's going through the mirror, I genuinely have absolutely no idea how they got that shot. Every time I watch that scene, I look at that shot going, how the hell did they do that? And best of all, I absolutely love the time turner sequence. I just find it very fascinating being able to see a sequence you've already seen, but from another angle, and seeing how what they do when they travel through time affects the present, if you know what I mean. And the way how you see the same sequences from a different angle really felt reminiscent of a very similar thing they did for Back to the Future Part 2. And moving on to characters, they're great once again. This is actually the first Harry Potter film that makes a really, really cool choice. In the first two Harry Potter movies, all of the characters wore the same uniforms. However, apparently Alfonso Cúron made the decision of making the main trio, Harry, Ron and Hermione, wear casual clothes, because it would really allow their personalities to stand out. It doesn't make too much sense on the school regulation system, but it really does help them stand out from the crowd, and I honestly do think that was a wise choice. I also really, really like the costume design as well. And along with the great costume design comes with the, again, excellent performances. Daniel Radcliffe, just like the first two movies, continues to deliver an excellent performance. I think this might be one of my favourite performances from him in the entire series. It's great seeing Ron and Hermione back, and they are just as lovable as ever. Ron is nice and fun and supportive and very entertaining, and Hermione really does a great job contributing to the climax. And I think having her getting this involved in the climax was a wise choice, because she was very underutilized in the climax for Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. The characters are also a bit more rebellious than they were in the first two movies. Well, yeah, they broke the school rules quite a bit in the first two movies, but this one they really start to push their boundaries. Which is why seeing Harry rebelling against the Dursleys or Hermione rebelling against Draco is so satisfying.
Malfoy, you okay? Let's go! Quick! Let's go! Run! Not a word to anyone, understood?
That felt good.
I love that moment. It is so great seeing Draco finally get punched in the face. The chemistry between these three actors continues to shine, just like the first two. And Sirius Black. This guy is honestly one of my favourite characters in the franchise. I love this guy. When Sirius finally tells Harry about how he's been feeling and what's really been going on, how he's completely innocent, and people are criticising him for trying to kill Harry, and we find out that he actually wants to do the exact opposite and actually help him, he becomes a very, very likeable character. I love this guy. Moving on, the cinematography for this film is absolutely gorgeous. Now, yes, I did like the cinematography from the first two, but this movie blows the cinematography of the other films out of the water. Every single scene is dripping with gorgeous atmosphere. I love it. The effects are spectacular, just like the Dementors, like I said earlier, as well as the Quidditch match. Every single year they seem to be getting better and better with Quidditch matches, and now this one is pretty much photorealistic. It looks like that people are really out there flying on broomsticks. And the shots really look like they have that much more depth and atmosphere to it with the added rain. My only real problem with the Quidditch match in Prisoner of Azkaban is the fact that it's the best looking one so far, and yet it only lasts for what feels like 30 seconds. It is by far the most short-lived Quidditch match so far in the series. They're flying around, catching balls for about 30 seconds, and suddenly Harry flies right up trying to catch a snitch, and he's attacked by Dementors and falls back to the ground. It's kind of a shame that the best looking Quidditch match so far is so short-lived, and Sirius Black in the form of a wolf is still phenomenal to this day. The CG in the film really does hold up remarkably well, and it really doesn't look like it's CG. I absolutely love Prisoner of Azkaban, but unfortunately I do have to admit that I do have one flaw with Prisoner of Azkaban, and unfortunately it is a pretty major flaw. The Time Turner. Yes, this is addressed in the books, and eventually, yes, I heard that apparently in the climax of Order of the Phoenix, they destroy the Time Turners, but I'm not reviewing the books, I'm reviewing the movies, and as stand-alone movies, ignoring the books, this is a major plot hole. Not once do we find out that the Time Turners have been destroyed in the films, and so as far as the films are concerned, the Time Turners always exist, and Hermione never says she got rid of it, so as far as I'm concerned, she still has it. So, if they still have the Time Turner for the rest of the series, why the hell don't they go back in time and fix, oh, I know, anything else bad that happens throughout the rest of the series? Now, I do know that Time Turners have very specific rules, so chances are it would have been almost impossible for them to go back all the way to when Voldemort was attacking and everything. However, a lot of really terrible things happen throughout the rest of the Harry Potter series. If Dumbledore asks Hermione to get rid of the Time Turner, or they are all destroyed during the battle in the next movie or something, then I would get it. But unlike the books, this movie doesn't explain the plot hole, so it is a very, very major plot hole. That makes it a plot hole for all the future movies, however, I blame it on Prisoner of Azkaban because that's the one that got it started. But again, except for that one flaw, I absolutely adore Prisoner of Azkaban. It has many great sequences, it's got my favourite plot in the series, it has amazing performances, John Williams' score is amazing, it's very visually pleasing with gorgeous atmosphere, gorgeous cinematography, and stunning special effects. I absolutely love this movie, and I'm going to be completely honest. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is my favourite movie in the entire series. I personally think that Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is my favourite Harry Potter movie. And because of that, you all know this is coming, I'm going to give Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban an A+. I absolutely love talking about Prisoner of Azkaban with you, mainly because it is my favourite. Stay tuned for my review for Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I can't wait to talk about that one with you, but until then, yippee-ki-yay, movie lovers!